everybody, it's RulyWolf, and I'm back with MoonDog.
Hey, everybody.
So before we get into it, do you want to do that again?
No, I think it's funny. It's like
Okay, we're
just keep rolling, keep rolling. As you can tell, we're having a good time.
Yes, which this is a little bit more different than the shows we've done before. We're actually really excited about this one. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, I just wanted to say, sorry we haven't done any shows. I know that our follower group is very small, but with the death of my hellhound and the unexpectedness of it, it really messed me up, and I needed some time. So we took some time, and now I'm at peace and I'm better, and we're ready to go for some more exciting shows. And so MoonDog and I got to go on our first adventure together since the pandemic. And since we decided we were together, we decided to go to the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. MoonDog, did you do anything to prepare before you went into the museum?
I did. So I'm going to kind of back this up a wee bit. Just so for those of you who may be new, I forgot to tell you. She's got the beeper.
Backing it up.
Really, we have not been drinking or anything. So we're just excited to be back.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, and if you haven't read it in our YouTube video, we're a father-daughter team. And so for us to get together and do things, we live a couple states away from each other. So it's a little difficult. Yeah. So we're super excited to do this. So we went to the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum, my bad. I'm dyslexic and whatnot. Yeah, whatever. Anyhow, and hopefully this shows. We would have a problem showing you. Here's my ticket. I kept it. And we were both pretty excited about doing this because, we haven't been able to do anything because of the pandemic. And it's hard for us to get together. So we went over there to do the Zak Bagans Haunted Museum. Yes, to answer your question, RulyWolf, because the museum is supposedly haunted, but more than that, supposedly they have a couple items in there that are possessed. Being the adventurers we are and like paranormal and whatnot, yes, I did kind of protect myself a little bit. One, prayer. Prayer is always a big one, because if you go into these things and think you can take on these spirits, they're very powerful. And if they're at a point where they've possessed something or whatever, you really don't want to poke the bear. So I did that. Plus, I have a black onyx Archangel Michael pendant. So I wore that too. And mentally, I knew I had to go in there with an attitude of respect. Because I know a lot of people, if you're in the paranormal community, people will poke fun at you and they joke about paranormals. And if you believe it, you're kind of crazy. But that's not the case. The stuff is real. So yeah, I don't mess around. So I did kind of protect myself before I went in. What about you?
So I kind of sort of dropped my ball a little bit on that one. So first of all, backtracking like months, actually, it's been more than 6 months. I got this book called Demonic Foes by Richard Gallagher, and it was recently after I moved into my house, and I have talked about this before about how there's creepy stuff with my house all the time, blah, blah, blah. And it was suggested to me that maybe I, do some things to kind of help protect myself so that I didn't bring in extra stuff. And so I got a cross bracelet, and ever since I got it, I haven't taken it off. It's weirdly fallen off several times. Like, it's got a good clasp, and sometimes it'll just be gone. Like just sitting on the couch, and then all of a sudden it's not on, but I almost consistently have it. And so I always wear that. And then when we went into the museum, I didn't pray until the first room because... So for one, they had their social distancing was great. They're doing a really good job of that.
Yes.
I really appreciated that because I am, concerned about COVID and everything. And so they, you check in, and then they have you in a small group, and you're all situated further apart while you're waiting outside, and they have little circles that you stand in and rotate around the room. So they did an excellent job.
They really did. I mean, that I was very impressed. They made it very clear they were going to stick to the guidelines, which made the experience very nice. And everybody was respectful and followed the rules too. So yeah, you felt comfortable having enough distance away from everybody. So yes, I agree with you. They did a good job.
Absolutely. So that was really appreciated. And so part of the waiting is you're sitting on some benches outside. Well, it was mid-afternoon in Las Vegas, and while it is April, it's still pushing, 90, 100 degrees. And so I was getting toasty because I am a very light complexion and I get very hot and burn very quickly. So, I wasn't thinking I should, pray. It was more of a like, oh, thank gosh, I get to go inside. So I neglected to pray, which they take you into this lobby, and it's the only place you're allowed to take pictures. And they give, a little description of, the house and whatnot. And you get to use, it's your one chance to use the bathroom before you go on this like hour-and-a-half tour.
Yes.
Timed it.
Which by the way, hang on. This is important. It's like, yes, that's your only one time to hit the restroom before you go in. And like RulyWolf was saying, it is a long tour. So take advantage of that, because it's there's so much to see and it's all distracting, like keeps your attention, but it is super long. So you got to be prepared. And I'm sorry for cutting you off, but that was like one thing. It's like, I think I heard somebody say, I don't need to. And then later on, they kind of were grumbling. It's like, yeah, because once you start, if you leave, if they have to take you out of the building for whatever reason, and we'll go into that a little bit too. If you leave, you cannot come back in. So even if it's a restroom break, so I guess that was kind of my point. If you have to use the restroom and you don't realize it, I don't know, why are we talking about a restroom so much? I don't know. Sorry. But
well, if you ever go on this is important.
Yes, it is important, because once you leave, you can't come back in. You're done. So
since we're on the topic of bathrooms, just real fast.
Sorry, audience.
Sorry, everybody. When you're done with the tour, you cannot go back inside to use the bathroom. We also found that out because we had a little bit of a drive afterwards, and I had to go because we timed it, and we ended up being in there for about 2 hours, which I do believe. So we did not do the RIP tickets, which is, their VIP tickets, because we weren't sure about it. If I'm going to do it again, and I will be doing the RIP, but one of our members or a couple in our group actually did do the RIP. And so while they did the RIP, we got more time in room. So I think that might be why it added on a little bit more time rather than the hour and a half that they suggested. So we were in there for 2 hours. And so, but they do have a porta potty outside, and I have to give them mad props. I've never been in a porta potty that was not only clean, but it smelled nice. Like, it smelled like citrus. So mad props for having a porta potty outside in Vegas that is not disgusting.
Yes, ultimately this is a great service for the museum. I mean, yes, they were very well prepared, and like, I think they were ready. If you needed to leave, you can. I mean, they have to escort you out. This is a big building. This is it's not tall. It's a mansion, but it's long. It's like at least like a city block long, or half a city block long or something. It's super, I don't want to over exaggerate it. It's a very large building. So.
And on top of that, I felt like the design layout was really bizarre. They did not appear that they had changed it from the original building, but like walking through it, this used to be a house, and walking through it, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I would not want to live here. This is just like such a weird layout for a house, and not to mention having to clean it. Like, forget it.
Oh yeah, but that's what gives it kind of a, I don't want to say creepiness, but eeriness to it. It's
absolutely.
when you deal with paranormal stuff, you kind of get calloused or used to certain things. So like going in there wasn't an issue. But let's get back to going in there. In the first room, like you said, RulyWolf, we went into the first room. You can take pictures of those items in there. And they do tell you that, many of the stuff in the museum is not haunted itself. But we were in there, and what happened to you?
Okay, so
this is after you went to the bathroom.
Right. So yes, I went in. I'm all good and I'm cleared off, and they're like, okay, you can walk around the room, you can take pictures in the lobby, and they check everybody's tickets and make sure that you're legitimately supposed to be there. And they had a ton of like creepy dolls, and I'm looking at the dolls, and then I pass by this thing, and I go to look at it, and my heart starts racing. I get like cold sweat, and I'm dizzy, and I am having my chest is being like pressed down on, and I'm like, okay, that's not good. Like, I need to, maybe I need to leave. Like, I just felt crazy. Like, it freaked me out. So I moved away. Like, I moved like this much away, and it stopped. And so then I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I move over to this glass case again, and if you're ever there, you'll have to look at it. It's in the lobby. You can't miss it. And I will include, what it has a label that says something on it. But again, I was feeling so weird and bad that I could not look at it and get a good look at it or read the label. My mom was with us doing this, and she got a picture of it so we can see the label and everything, because again, you can take pictures in this one room. And so I tried to get a better look, and it made me feel that way again. And so then the rest of the time we were in the lobby, I was trying to stay as far away from it as possible, because every time I got close to it, I freaked out. Like, not freaked out, but inside it felt like my nerves were like being poked, and it was awful. And I've never felt that way over an object before.
Yes, which was strange because I didn't pick up on anything, but one of the protection things too, because I'm going to say something that some of you are going to think is weird, but I am an empath, and I did not know Zach is an empath. I found out afterwards. So you have to do like a mental thing. So you kind of start blocking things. So when I went in, I kind of start mentally blocking. So I didn't pick up on anything. I mean, if I was to feel something, it'd have to be like really strong and directed at me. But you feeling that's crazy, because you kind of know and deal with stuff. So it's not like it would freak you out. But if something like that that's kind of trippy. Yeah.
And I've had it suggested to me that perhaps, it's an electrical thing. It had a red bulb in it. Maybe it was the light.
Yeah, that could be.
And that could very well be. Like I said, I will be.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like I said, I will be going back, and I will definitely be going over there and seeing if I feel the same way. Because it's possible. I would think that as far as electrical thing, that I would feel that feeling other times. And as far as the light, that could be it. But I like haunted houses, and I've been in a lot of haunted houses that have red lights, and they don't scare me. I actually end up laughing the whole time going through haunted houses. I have so much fun in them. So that very well could be a possibility. I'm not ruling that out. But I've never felt that way about an object before, and it was so bizarre, and it freaked me out. And it was so bad that, and again, I have stuff happen at the house that's creepy. I've had really creepy stuff happen at other places. I love haunted houses. I love horror movies. I'm not easily
tripped out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way it made me feel, though, I almost went and sat in the car. That was how bad it was.
Which is bad for you to like want to leave. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. And it was just when I was by that one thing. If I walked away, it stopped.
Didn't it have a mechanical monkey in there?
I think it had like a monkey ape thing in there, and that's all I can I don't know.
I just don't like mechanical monkey thingies. I don't know why they're always creepy. They make them creepy. They give them big eyes, and they're like, I don't know. I think I.
Oh yeah, because if you compared a mechanical monkey to a real monkey is cute. A mechanical monkey is just like, why? This isn't the same.
Thanks for clarifying it, because you're right. Like, there's cute little monkeys. They don't make mechanical monkeys cute. But you know what? Neither are mechanical clowns. So they're all in the same category. You can't have fun mechanical monkeys or clowns. But
Yeah,
anyhow.
I'm not afraid of clowns, but I had a clown as a kid that I don't think I've ever told you this, Moondog. So this is a fun story for you. My great grandma, so my dad's grandma, Moondog's grandma, gave me a little clown when I was a kid, and that thing would be in different spots in my room every morning when I woke up. So guess where that clown went? First time that we had to move and parents were like, okay, we got to get rid of some of your toys. I'm like, bye, little clown. I loved my great grandma, but that clown went bye-bye real fast because it would move around. So now I'm like, I don't have a problem with clowns, but at the same time, I don't want clown things in the house.
Right? Oh, I get that. Well, so we're in this main room, and they tell you right away not everything's haunted in the museum. But I definitely want to tell you this. There is a lot to see. I remember, and I'm going to be honest here, because that's what we do. You know, we were a little skeptical. We weren't sure what we were going to expect from the museum. Zak Bagans is a huge celebrity, and he does a lot of paranormal stuff. You know, he's in Vegas, and I expected it was going to be decent, but you're always a little hesitant because I've gone to things that you're like, ugh, is this going to be worthwhile or what? This 100% is worthwhile. He has collected so much stuff, and it's almost sensory overload to a point because he has so many I'm just going to say collectible items because you have to go there to see it. Because if I say it's all dolls, you're going to take it wrong. It's not. It's super cool stuff. I would love to go there and be able to take my time and go through because it's a guided tour, which I totally get why they do it. And it should be a guided tour. Mm-hmm. But there is so much to look at. And it's so amazing and just like fascinating that the stuff you're seeing, I don't even know how old some of it is. You know, the era it came from, you're like, people had this in their houses, in their rooms, and it's all sorts of things that like we could just talk about it for a long time. But we also don't want to give anything away to take away from the experience. You need to go do this on your own. And I would highly suggest if you're not scared to go, they make you sign waivers and they tell you be prepared because things can happen. Now, of course, a lot of people go through, so not everybody's going to have an experience. But anyhow, it is definitely worthwhile. They have all sorts of artifacts that he's collected. And so we started through the museum. So now we're going to have to be kind of cautious here without giving things away. We will probably talk about one item because Zak, we know, has done a show on it, which we went and watched afterwards to try to get a little more, well, I don't want to say info. I found it fascinating. So anyhow, do you want to say anything about when we started going through the museum?
Yeah. So when we initially went into the first room, I was pretty kind of off. I felt a little off because that, made me feel so weird. And then that was when in that room, I started saying a prayer in my head because I was like, oh, I didn't protect myself. That was kind of my bad. So I'm praying and then I'm walking around the room and there's something, because again, MoonDog is correct. We don't want to spoil the things and there's so much to see and we don't want to take away from anything. So the things that we will touch on are things that they talk about on, like their website and specifically point out. So it's common knowledge that it's there. And so walking around this first room and there was this grouping of objects that made me kind of feel similar to the object in the lobby. And I don't want to go into detail just because I think you should check it out, but it definitely made me feel kind of funky. Not as bad, but I had to walk away. There was just this group of items that made me feel kind of funky. And I'm not sure if that just kind of bothered me because of what it was, or if I really was having some sort of reaction to it. So I don't really feel that one's fair to claim as a reaction to anything, because that could be a mental bias in my head about how I felt about it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Well,
So,
because like I said, when I went in, I was like mentally prepared and blocking, and something would have to be very drastic to get past that. So yeah, I there was a lot I didn't feel. There's like some items that they talk about. I Let me just put it this way. First of all, the staff is awesome. They were totally
oh yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Kudos to all of you if you ever watch this show. You did a phenomenal job. And our tour guide, she was great. She just had so much knowledge, and they you go into different rooms, and even blah, 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 different rooms have different themes, and they so it's very well put together. You kind of go into one room, and this is why the objects are in there, and this is why it's separated, and then they give you the knowledge, and it's anywhere from old historic figures owning stuff to celebrities owning stuff, and they have some kind of either something haunting about them or paranormal demonic maybe about it, and you go from room to room and everything's a little bit different, very well set up. um, as far as like really well said, for the most part, I didn't pick up on anything, um, but it has certainly got a great kind of eerie factor to it. If unless really Wolf, you have a different term. um, Very low lit, but you can still see stuff. So you can, it's not like you're walking around bumping around. They don't shut off the lights and scream at you. This is not an amusement ride. Um,
Right.
it was so that was good too, because that's kind of was like, I'm like, I hope this isn't like some kind of carnival thing. Although they did have like a carnival exhibit, and that kind of fit the theme and the atmosphere. I can't say any more about it. That's probably the liveliest part of the tour.
Yes,
So
that was very much for out of all of the tour, that was the most relaxed. You kind of have a minute to be like, oh, okay, this is
yeah,
good.
well, yeah, that's a good way to put it. You do. You kind of get in there, and unless you're horribly afraid of the carnival,
Yes,
it's
then you will not be relaxed.
yeah, very well done. And then see again, without giving too much away. I mean, I'm amazed at the collection. It's super cool.
It's huge, and the amount of money that has gone into amassing it has got to be insane.
Oh, I know.
Because some of this stuff is like invaluable.
Right.
It's priceless. It's insane.
Right. Now, the other thing is about humanity itself. I think they did a good job explaining stuff like why certain people held certain items and things like that. And I really like that because, I like to read people and see what's going on. But man, there are just some weird people out there. And there's some people that you may think you have know a little bit about, in history books or TV shows or whatever. Yeah, it goes much deeper and darker. There's some darkness out there that people mess with, um, and just some of the stuff that was collected from those people that Zak was able to get. I'm impressed too. Again, I can't. I'm gonna quit saying that. Anyhow, it's cool. Now, through the tour, as you're going into these different rooms, you do get the time, you get to look it through, and the tour guide is really good about saying, is everybody ready to go? Can we move on? Because they do have to keep you moving because they still have people waiting outside. The really kind of darker or more demon-possessed stuff was at the end of the tour.
Right.
Which was good because I could see it. But really feel free to interrupt me on any of this because it's hard to go talk about the tour. But she talked about the RIP tour. I love that little twist. The VIP,
I know, it's great.
RIP. Like really well said. We didn't do it. We weren't sure what we were getting into. But while we were there was an RIP couple in our group. And what they get to do is certain parts of the museum, they get to do different things or see different things we didn't get to see. So it's definitely worth paying the money to go do the RIP. Well, this one couple, there's these stairs that go to the basement of the house. Really, please correct me if I'm wrong. But in that wasn't in that house they had sacrifices or something? What was with the stairway?
Yeah, it supposedly there was like rituals and stuff that happened in the basement. So kind of the house has a creepy history. They did a great job talking about the history of the house and everything. So I'm not going to do it justice. 'Cause I'm, only doing the one time. But yeah, the basement was supposed to be a really nasty
place to be.
The history of the house.
Yeah, and I didn't want to, and I apologize, I didn't want to get that mixed up because he had brought in some stuff from another house that was supposed to be one of the most haunted houses ever. So I want to make sure I wasn't confusing the two. Anyhow, let me just put it this way. We didn't get to go to the basement, but the RIP people did. And downstairs they supposedly had, I think it was an altar because we didn't see it, where they supposedly sacrificed people. And they had a spirit box going. And you could barely hear the spirit box. If any of you don't know what that is, a spirit box is an electronic device that uses radio frequencies that's supposedly, spirits and stuff can use the energy and whatnot to talk through the spirit box. So you can kind of hear this electronic crackling sound a little bit. They went down into the basement and they were not down there very long. They were like all of a sudden hustling back up the stairs. And we got to talk to the couple afterwards real quick to just find out what happened. And basically, the one lady said, because she just about left the tour. She said she just about backed out. She was scared, and sounds like rightfully so. And she said basically the spirit box said her name. And pretty much she was done. And she came back upstairs. Yep. She was shaking.
She hustled.
She was shaking.
She hustled up those stairs.
And I'm telling you, I could see why they make you sign those waivers that, things may happen. They might follow you home, all this stuff. So, yeah, she got up there and said she just about quit the tour, but she hung in there. So kudos to her. Because, that probably wouldn't have made me very happy either.
And if I remember correctly, there's no lights down there, or there's minimal lights.
Very minimal light. Very minimal.
I think there's probably light over whatever, probably the spirit box and on the other things that were down there, like display lights. But other than that, there's no light, so it's incredibly dark. And so that doesn't help either. If you're kind of in like a mostly dark area and then something says your name on a spirit box, I'd probably peace out too.
I know. I wouldn't be very happy, I think. Right. Although, who knows? If I get pushed the wrong way, I might say something back, which would be dumb. Anyhow, seriously, though, I'm not trying to be tough guy. I'd probably be crying when I came up. No. Totally kidding. But, so there is definitely, and that's it. I know we can't give you the whole details of everything, but there is a fear factor behind this. And depending where you're at, with dealing with this stuff, I could see stuff totally getting to you. There's some just objects that are just creepy, and you look at it, it's like, how could you have that in your home? A lot of this stuff came from people's homes and stuff, from what I understand, and it's just bizarre. So anyway, we continued through. So that was like the biggest event for us on the tour. Now, we can talk about Peggy, right?
Yes, I believe Peggy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's not a lot for us to say, except for there's one doll in there, and I do believe it's pretty well public knowledge, named Peggy. And you go into a room that's just Peggy, and Peggy is supposedly demon possessed. And they have a spirit box in here. But our weird thing is like I said, my wife was with me, and we went in there. Now, when you come up to the room, the spirit box is very loud. I could hear it clear as a bell. Couldn't you, RulyWolf?
Oh, yeah. It was. You could hear it outside the room.
Yes.
It was loud.
So RulyWolf and I are very open to this stuff. My wife, not as much. So you go into the room, and you kind of single file through the room, and you walk by Peggy. And I guess you can talk to Peggy, but I think they told us probably not a good idea. I don't remember that part.
Yeah, they said that if I believe they said if Peggy wanted to say anything, she would, but that we should just say hi, Peggy, and then bye, Peggy, to close out the connection, and that was
it is. You walk in and you say hi, Peggy. There you go. You see Peggy, and you kind of keep moving, and it's very fluid. You don't really stop. And she didn't talk at that time, but they did tell us that sometimes she doesn't talk. But I guess she talks, and they've had that spirit box up so loud. So basically, from my understanding, is that so they can hear her if she's talking from another room, very loud. Well, here's the weird thing on our side. My wife couldn't hear the spirit box. She did not pick up on it. It was loud.
I didn't know she could hear.
You didn't know this?
To me, I didn't know that.
Oh
no.
yeah, I'm talking to her and I make some comments. She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "The noise from his spirit box." I'm like, "It was super loud," and it's like you could hear it in the other, like walking up to the room and stuff. She's like, "I didn't hear anything." So now it's like, what does that mean? I was like,
right?
Wow, was she so tuned out, or was there something there and she couldn't hear it? I don't know.
Yeah, it was. And I want to throw in there too. She didn't greet Peggy at all. Her opinion on it was that why say hi if you're opening up a connection at all? Why just not say nothing? And so she didn't say anything either. Which that's a reasonable assumption. I would think the same thing.
That's a good assumption. Yeah.
As it is, I'm not sure Peggy even heard me say hi or bye with my mask because it's a thick one. So I'm like, oh, hey, Peggy. Hey, Peggy. Well, I'm not sure she even heard me.
Yes. Well, I've heard some people have not been so nice to Peggy, and then they ended up having to deal with things afterwards. So, again, I don't know what your belief is on something like this, but again, you don't poke the bear. I was very respectful going in, very respectful going out. Nothing happened. I would have loved to have heard something from the spirit box, but that being said, if she's not willing to talk, I'm not going to sit there and encourage it if it's not warranted.
If she doesn't want to talk to me, that is okay.
That's right. So that was cool. That was super cool. And now that's where, to me, the creep factor comes in because, there's a history behind this doll. Zak, from my understanding, bought it from somebody. Like, I think they wanted to get rid of it, if I remember right. See, I'm doing a lot of, if I remember right, there's so much information. It's so much stuff. It's just phenomenal. But then you get to the big one, which we know you can talk about, Zak. And again, we're not here stumping for Zak. Not like I'm not stumping for him, but we did this on our own, and we just found it very cool, and definitely worthwhile. But when you go in and it's on his ticket, again, I don't know if you can see this. Probably not. Oh, really? Is that coming in?
Yep, it's coming in.
And it says Dybbuk box. So the Dybbuk box, DYBBUK, is a box that supposedly contains a demon. And we did watch Zak's show on it afterwards. I didn't know he had that show on it. And you go into this room, and boy, that to me was a very solemn. Like when you went into Peggy's room, it wasn't solemn. Everybody just kind of went in respectfully and kind of came out. The Dybbuk box, boy, it just had this feeling in there. Again, not to me scary, not whatever, but it just seemed like I don't think anybody was going to do anything to spark anything up. Let me put it that way. And it just, I don't know. Did you feel that way at all? Or is it just me that? I
was fascinated, I guess. It was a very somber thing. But I was just fascinated. I don't want to, again, I know we keep saying this, but I don't want to go into too much detail. It's really cool looking, the way that everything is set up in the room. It's just fascinating. And it was very somber, and just there was an odd feel to the room. The only time I felt really weird about anything was in that lobby. And then again, like I said, I'm not sure if that was just me being kind of silly in the next room. Then after that, I was okay the whole time, even in the Dybbuk box room. But there was definitely a different feeling to that room than there was the rest of the museum.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because I didn't know if that was just me or not. And we had not talked about that. And how they set it up, I think is very cool. They definitely, and again, I'm not giving anything away because if you watch this show, you know what I'm talking about. But they have the box in the center of the room, and it's on a kind of like a pole pedestal thing. And then around it, they have sage, and around that, they have salt. so that the demon can't get out. But I
Right.
guess people were still having issues. I get, and again, people are saying they have had issues being around this box. Well, now they have even another box around it, which was super cool. And it was just, even just for, let's say, just a museum piece, very cool. I liked it. I would like to have
Oh
stayed
yeah.
in there longer. And not again. I'm not going to talk to anything. I know you don't mess with demons. It's like you don't provoke them. You don't try to get into a conversation with them and stuff like that. But I certainly was like, I would like to have looked more at that a little bit closer. So yeah, to me, I thought it was really cool because, like I said, we went back home after that and we're like, whoa, does he have a show on this? It's like, I think he has a show on this. And sure enough, he did. So we all watched
Yeah.
it afterwards. It was like, that's very, very interesting. But
Yeah, it was very interesting, and definitely take the time to watch it if you can. I think the Dybbuk box was probably one of the coolest things.
I do too. I do too. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
But
So and then that was.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead, because I don't know if you had more to say.
No, I didn't. I think I was going to say what you were going to say.
Okay, I was gonna say, and then there were some other things that we did, and then that was pretty much it. And that makes it sound like it was just like a quick walkthrough, but there is so much stuff. It would take months to see everything in that house. There is so much stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just had fun. If you like artifacts and things about people and stuff, it's really worth it. And they did put a little entertainment value at one point, which I can't tell you about because I'd kind of ruin it. Not bad or scary. We actually found it very entertaining. And it was kind of a nice little break too for us. I don't know how other people would have felt about it, but yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's very. I feel like going through the museum, the tension kind of just builds the whole time you're going through and seeing all of the stuff. Almost a little bit like sensory overload too, because again, there's so much stuff and you're trying to see everything and listen to everything. And so yeah, their little moment, kind of just helped like ease the tension. Broke the tension a little bit. Everybody could kind of relax and then go back through with it building up. And so I had us off. They did an excellent job with this because I really honestly went in with just not low hopes, but very just, low key. Like it's going to be, kind of cool, but I was really impressed with how cool it was. Enough that I will probably go back and do the RIP tour, as well as another time they have a flashlight tour that you just go through with like flashlights, and they let you take some, I want to see they let you take maybe
are you going to take an EMP? EMP.
Yeah, EPP. Am I saying? My brain just like stopped working. I can't think of it.
Well, now you're messing me up.
I think yes. They let you take at least one or two pieces of like ghost hunting equipment with you for that tour.
I did not know that. I just heard flashlight tour and I tuned out because I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go in there with a flashlight. But
see, I don't know if I would have gone the first time with a flashlight. I think that going through it once and kind of getting a feel for it was better than going and doing the flashlight tour right off the bat for me personally. Just me.
So
and then again, like with the social distancing, they have a gift shop at the end, which is actually really nice. Cool. Like I was surprised. I like gift shops and normally they're okay. It was really nice, but with social distancing, they were making sure there were only so many people in there before they let everybody in, and so they did a great job. And overall, I absolutely recommend this. Enough that we're doing a show on it to tell you kind of about it, and it's awesome.
And remember, we're big skeptics. If we saw BS, we'd tell you BS, and what a waste of time. It is not. And by the way, RulyWolf, you are going back and you are doing the RIP, and you're going to tell me how it is in the basement, because I don't think I'd ever go to the basement.
That's okay.
I didn't tell you that.
There is a chance that my baby brother will be visiting me, and he's already expressed interest that we will be going and doing the RIP tour. So
we'll do the flashlight with the RIP.
Oh, that would be cool. I wonder if I wonder how they
or
that would
I wonder if they have it that way, or maybe it's just part of the flashlight tour. You should find out.
Oh, I bet it's part of the flashlight tour.
You have to go to the basement, and you got to take your baby brother.
I like how he's throwing me under the bus. You get to go with me.
I am. Yeah, that yes.
Nice knowing everybody. It's me who gets to go.
You all get to be the guinea pigs. Well, you get to take your husband with, so make sure you sign all your valuables and stuff over to me first, then go on the tour. Okay. I will say there was another couple that was with us, and they did not do the RIP tour, but I definitely know that they were uncomfortable at one point, and I'm not sure because they were ahead of us most of the time, and I was basically at the back of the group all the time, and so I didn't see her. But at one point, we were spread out, but we were kind of like catty corner, and she was saying that lady was shaking. She was scared, and the guy did not look comfortable there either. And maybe I misread him, but she definitely was like, man, I think she was ready to get out.
They were telling the tour guide at the beginning of the tour that they were very perceptible. Dang it. My brain's not working. Susceptible. Yes, they were very susceptible to things, and they've had a lot of experiences. So, I mean, if you're susceptible,
it triggered them. They triggered. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like being an empath, which again, I was surprised Zach is too, not surprised. I mean, you just don't hear that. I mean, if you go in open and you're not blocked, if you're not blocking, it can get to you. So if these people were very perceptible, we feeling things and stuff, they could have been,
right.
A type of, now you got me saying EVP in my head. Thank you very much. That's all your fault, RulyWolf. Is EVP. I give up. I'm shot.
EMF, isn't it?
Well, no, you got an EMF. Yes.
I will solve this problem, and I will tell you what is on the flashlight too.
Whiskey, please. Thank you. Make it a double. I wish.
While I'm doing my terrible YouTube channel Googling, why don't you tell them? Because I totally forgot. Did something not touch you? Like the back of your leg?
Oh, yeah. And wasn't that you too? Or was that your mom? Anyhow.
No, mine was different. But mom felt the thing on the back of the leg.
Okay. So real quick, going back to the empath thing. That other couple may have been empath level type. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, if you were susceptible and you weren't willing to go and you go in there unprepared, unprotected, I could totally see this place will get to you. I could see where, anytime you have darker stuff, especially spiritual, it can affect you. And, as far as attaching to you, that was the other thing. They do talk about, not items, but spirits possibly attaching to you or following you home and whatnot, which could happen. We didn't have any experiences after that. But again, we're a lot more prepared and ready for it. So if we didn't notice anything. But yeah, we were going through there. And again, I thought it was you. Was it not you?
No, I think it was Mom. Mine was different.
As we're going through, halfway through or so, something touches the back of my calf on my leg. We're wearing shorts. It's Vegas. And, everywhere else in the country, it's snowing. Not where we were. And we're wearing shorts and we were warm as it was. And something touched the back of my calf. And I thought, well, what the heck? And I looked down and nothing. And I'm like, well, was it like a fly or something? But there's nothing in there. I mean, and then it happened like 3 times total. I'm like, what the heck? Then after the tour, my wife said the same thing happened to her. But I wasn't standing next to her. So, if a little pest had gotten in there, it did a good job. I never saw anything flying around at all. There was no indication of any bugs or anything. So that was, I totally forgot about that. I didn't take it as a spiritual thing. It could have been. It totally could have been. And I was like, again, kind of in a state of not really looking for anything intentionally. So I don't know. That was weird though, because I thought it was just me. And then when it was brought up, then I was like, that happened to you too? And like, did you see anything? Like, no, nothing.
Yeah, see, I think that it happened to you and Mom, because what happened to me was I was standing there and my arm, like right here,
Huh?
I guess I should not show you my hand, right here, it got really hot. Like the rest of my body was fine. It got hot and then felt like kind of like tingly around it. And so then I was like rubbing my arm because I was like, what the heck? That was weird. So for me, that was weird because I don't normally have weird like body hot spots. So it was, and it felt like slight pressure almost, but not like somebody grabbing me, just like kind of like, I don't know, like something set like a hot rag on your arm, but it felt warmer than that. So it was weird. Okay, so it's EMF. Sorry, you would think that we would know this by now.
No, you just messed it all up.
It was my bad.
EVJ. Don't know.
I almost feel bad that we didn't do the flashlight tour. I didn't read well enough about it, which is okay because it is expensive. But apparently it's a limited time thing that they're doing. They're not going to do it forever, and they only allow 20 people in. And it's an hour and a half. And what they do is they split you into a group of 10, and one half goes and gets free reign of their half of the house for 45 minutes.
Oh,
and then
really?
They switch you. Yeah, and then they switch you, and then you get 45 minutes free reign in the rest of the house. And so they don't provide paranormal equipment. That was my bad. But they said in their facts on their website, while paranormal equipment should be minimal, we will allow audio recorders, EMF K2 meters, and spirit boxes. Spirit boxes will only be allowed in rooms with the door shut and turned to a low volume.
Wow. Okay, so that's different. Well, that's okay, because we did it as a test. Because honestly, like I said, we're a little skeptical on a lot of things. We've seen a lot of fake stuff, and you're like, whatever. But this was cool. And again, I want to bring up how we're now talking about things that happened to us that we didn't talk about because we were spending our time talking about the things in the museum. So I think it's funny that you felt like something warm was on your arm. We hadn't talked about that because, we were just checking out talking about all the other cool things in there.
Yeah. So it's awesome. If you get a chance to do it, even just the basic tour is so worth it. It's a little pricey, but the price is absolutely justifiable with how much there is inside, how knowledgeable all of the staff was. Everybody was on top of everything. It was fantastic.
See, I don't think it was pricey for everything you got and the amount of people they had staff-wise and everything. I think it was a very good price, a very reasonable price.
You're right. It is reasonable. Up front, I think it's like $50 a ticket. Up front, it seems like a lot, but going through it, it is absolutely a reasonable price.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, very well staffed. People are super friendly, and the amount of the time that you're there for 2 hours. So,
Yeah, and if you do go, spring for the RAP. It's worth it. Absolutely. Like you get a T-shirt at the end too. So
that's right.
I think their T-shirts are about the same price or the same price as the add-on to do the RAP. So if you were thinking of buying a shirt, well, then you got a shirt and you got to do the extra room. So, if you do it, spring for the RAP if you can.
Yes. And please leave comments if you've been through it, because we'd like to hear, especially if you got into the basement.
Yes.
That would be really cool. Or if you talk to Peggy and Peggy, or not, you don't talk to Peggy. If Peggy talked to you, and then, or anything like that, because it would be really cool to hear. Like I said, I was not disappointed. Well worth it.
Yeah,
but
so
I do have a question before we go on this, and that is, let's bring up the whole thing because they do talk about spirits, potentially following you home. If you watch the Dybbuk Box show, then you'll find out that supposedly one of the demon or whatever followed one guy home or something or caused trouble. And, do you believe in that stuff? I mean, RulyWolf, do you believe a demon can attach to you or follow you? Or let's say just a spirit, a malevolent spirit or something like that?
I think so. I think it's a little bit more complicated than a spirit just like attaching to you and following you home. I think that they're, your mental fortitude, I guess, depending on how well that is, because I think if you're just kind of too open or too relaxed, then you're more likely to bring something with you or an object you bring at home. I think, though, that it's a little bit more complicated than something just being like, like this person, we're coming home with you. I think there's probably something somewhere that, like, requirements almost. Like, if you've got, good, strong mental fortitude and you're strong in your mind and you can kind of, almost build like a shield around your mentality, then you are probably not going to bring something home. That doesn't mean that, you're like, yes, my mentality is strong, and you don't have weak moments, and that weak moments let something in, because we're human,
Right.
Nobody's able to not have weak moments, and that's okay. But I do think that there's more to it than just a spirit or demon or force being able to just attach to somebody and come home. I think there's, you got my point. Yeah, exactly. I'm repeating myself now.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it would take that susceptibility to have something happen. But that is a lot of what this is about, in a sense, too. And they bring it up that way, that just be prepared. Something might happen or might follow you home or whatever. But that also makes part of the fun of the whole thing, too. Makes fun of, but makes it fun. Sorry, make sure I'm clear on that. So, I would, 1 out of 10, what would you rate it?
I think I'd rate it 10, actually.
And I would too, and not to be stupid over the top, but to me, I thought about what would I want out of this that I didn't get, or I felt like needed to be added, and really, I don't think I can't think of anything. So
and they said he's always adding stuff too. So
I mean, it's supposedly he's around there a lot also. So you might see Zach, I would say lurking. I don't know if that's the right word. But,
no, I've seen reviews where people were like, he was kind of just like lurking in a corner, and I wasn't sure it was him. And apparently, I guess he likes to, kind of like hide out and see if people notice him. So I think lurking's probably an all right thing, because I think he does kind of, will people notice me? You gonna see me if I'm hiding behind this curtain? So
Oh, too funny. Yeah, again, we don't know Zach from anybody, so.
No, we didn't do anything special before we went, other than I messaged their team and asked if we could talk about our experience there, because they're, they don't allow video or pictures, and we got the go ahead on that. So other than that, we didn't do anything special. We paid for our tickets and went. That's it.
Yeah. So, it was a good time. Well worth it. Absolutely. A very good thing to do when you're in Las Vegas. Definitely check it out. But
and
the weird thing is,
if you're here during the summer, it's inside.
Yes, it is. And it's kind of cool too, because I mean, you're outside, it's sunny, you go inside, and you're in there for almost 2 hours, and it's dark. And then there is kind of a relief, I will say it, and I don't know if it's just because sensory overload or what. I'm not going to just leave it up to everybody else, but you get outside, you're like, whew, okay, I'm glad we're out now.
I didn't think I was going to be, I really didn't think that I was going to enjoy myself as much as I did, nor that I would step outside and be like, sunshine.
I know, right? I know. It is. It's like very well timed and very well put together. And the staff, again, phenomenal. If any of you listen, awesome job. Thanks for, letting us ask questions and you answering, and their knowledge is really, really good. At one point, I'm like, I don't know if I can remember all this stuff.
I was thinking the same thing. So there's a part of me that's like, oh, maybe I could work there. And then they're talking, and I'm like, wow, that would take me a hot minute to remember everything.
Exactly. So that wraps it up for that, because we can't say any more without repeating ourselves, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was fun, and it was worth it, and it's a good topic to talk about. It's too bad we can't give more away. Like, there's things I want to say and I can't.
Know, me too.
Like,
yeah. So go enjoy it, and then when you've gone, drop a comment and be like, "Hey, I went. Let's talk about this really cool thing," and we can start a discussion over messages on Instagram or whatever, and then we can talk to you about it.
Absolutely. So,
well, with that, we really can't say more without ruining anything or repeating ourselves. So we hope you're all staying safe and healthy and happy. I know every YouTuber does this, and so we're going to do it too, but hit the like button, hit bell notification, subscribe. And leave us a comment down below on anything that you want to talk about. And don't forget to check out our Instagram at Shadow Talkers. And until next time, explore the shadows.